There's a meeting that never happened. And what that meeting was about may be the most important thing you've never been told. This is where it gets heavy. November 22nd, 1963. President John F. Kennedy is assassinated in Dallas, Texas. 4 days later, an Israeli lobbying group in the United States writes an internal memo. It describes Kennedy's successor, Lyndon Baines Johnson, as holding a, quote, front-rank pro-Israel position. He was celebrating 4 days after a president was killed. Here's what you need to understand about why that matters. Go back to January 19th, 1961, the day before Kennedy's inauguration. He sat down with President Eisenhower for a final briefing. One of Kennedy's first questions: what countries was most determined to build a nuclear bomb? Secretary of State Christian Herter answers immediately: Israel and India. He urges Kennedy to press hard on instructions before Israel gets the bomb. Kennedy takes that seriously from day one. Over the next 2.5 years, Kennedy wages the toughest American-Israeli confrontation over nuclear weapons in history, as described by the National Security Archive. He writes letters to Israeli Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion, demanding U.S. scientists be allowed into Dimona for regular inspection. He tells Ben-Gurion directly, in writing, that America's commitment to support of Israel could be seriously jeopardized if Israel refused. Ben-Gurion stalls, evades, changes the subject, compares Arab leaders to Hitler, does everything except answer the question. This is where it gets heavier. When U.S. inspectors finally got inside of Dimona, they found something remarkable. Israel had built a fake control room. They bricked up the sections of the building housing the plutonium processing plant. They disguised the walls. They constructed an elaborate deception, specifically to fool the inspection team. And the CIA knew. A declassified national intelligence estimate from the Kennedy years states plainly that Israel's prime minister lied to, or at the least misled Kennedy about a private conversation about Dimona. That what Israeli officials told U.S. scientists visiting about the reactor was false. That the CIA knew the reactor was intended for weapons, not power. Weapons. Ben-Gurion eventually resigned in June of 1963, rather than face Kennedy's demands directly. His successor, Levi Eshkol, reluctantly agreed to allow regular visits. But Kennedy wasn't satisfied with visits that could be manipulated. He wanted a binding agreement, full access, real accountability. The negotiations were still active, still unresolved. Kennedy was still pushing, still demanding a final answer. Working-level talks between U.S. and Israel were happening as late as November 12th and 13th. A memo to McGeorge Bundy is dated November 19th, 3 days before Dallas, still discussing the unresolved Dimona situation. Kennedy was killed on November 22nd, 1963, before the answer ever came. Here's what happened next. Lyndon Johnson took office. An Israeli diplomat was told by LBJ directly, and I'm quoting a documented statement, "You have lost a great friend, but you have found a better one." The Israeli newspaper Haaretz later wrote that historians generally regard Johnson as the president most uniformly friendly to Israel in American history. Israel was being threatened with loss of all U.S. support if they didn't open the nuclear program up to real oversight. Under Johnson, the pressure softened almost immediately. The inspection program continued on paper, but the teeth were gone. Israel built its first nuclear device in 1966, assembled its first nuclear weapon on the eve of the 1967 war, and by 1969, under Richard Nixon, the inspection program was ended completely. No more visits, no more questions, no more pressure. Israel has never signed a nuclear non-proliferation treaty. It has never officially confirmed its nuclear weapons. It's currently believed to possess between 80 and 400 nuclear warheads. All of it built while American presidents looked the other way, or were replaced with someone who would. I'm not telling you who killed Kennedy. Nobody's proven that. What I'm going to tell you is what the documents say. The president was in a secret war with Israel over nuclear weapons. Working-level negotiations were still going on 3 days before he was killed. His replacement told Israel's representatives they had found a better friend. And Israel got its nuclear weapons. Those are not theories. Those are classified State Department cables, national security authorized documents, CIA intelligence estimates, and the official record of the U.S. government. I just read them for you. Nothing I say on my channel is a secret. You can Google anything I say and find it's true. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you aware yet?